Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. This is Wissam, a certified KNX tutor, and in this video we are going to talk about the basic key concepts about KNX. This video is in English. We have another one on the channel is in Arabic. Okay. In this video we'll talk about the key concepts about KNX, and each item or topic we're going to talk about today we'll have another video to cover it more. Okay, because today we are going to talk about main concepts, and for more details you can go and check other videos for us. Okay, so let's start. What's KNX? KNX is simply a building automation protocol. What's building automation? What's automation? You hear it a lot. Smart home automation. Okay, بيت الذكي in Arabic. To have a smart home or home automation or building automation, meaning in a very simple way that you have the ability to manage, to control, to view, to monitor the house and the device in the house. So I can control the lights in the house, the AC in the house, maybe the shutters, maybe the garage doors, the audio, the home cinema, everything that I said is under automation. And to control, you can also monitor. I can find out if there is some motion in this room now, okay, and then I can take actions based on this finding. I can integrate the system with the CCTV, the cameras, and all of this is under automation. What is building here? Building is covering everything that you can have under your mind as a building. It can be a small house or a big tower for 20 or 60 floors, okay, or a building or group buildings like Dubai airport. Everything that will need and have a benefit of controlling and managing and monitoring its devices can fail under building automation. So you can have a small office and you can say this is an office automation. Maybe it's a school and you want to automate the school, okay, and or a mosque or a villa, a residential villa, and whatever you need to do with this building, okay, based on your need, will fall under building automation. Will fall under building automation. It's a protocol, meaning that it's not a device. So there is no device called a KNX made device. KNX is not making devices. KNX is putting a standard protocol. What's the standard protocol means? That a protocol meaning that the way that devices communicate together. A simple example that all of us are using is Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is a protocol. So I can buy a Samsung TV and connect it to my router, and in the same way my iPhone is also connected to Wi-Fi. My laptop from Lenovo is connected from Wi-Fi. So all devices are connected under the same protocol. So it's an open protocol. So KNX is also an open protocol, making sure that devices from more than 500 companies are connected together and working together to make a complete solution under many devices. Okay. KNX is a wired protocol, meaning that device will be connected via wire. This is the main concept of KNX. There are different protocols like wireless protocols like Z-Wave or ZigBee, but today we are talking more about the KNX as a wireless protocol. KNX is managed and supervised under KNX Association. This is the association that is making sure that the material of KNX, the device of KNX are working together, so they supervise the manufacturing process and giving an approval that this device will be KNX certified. Okay. KNX devices will be categorized mostly under these categories. The first KNX device that I have in the category is a power supply. The KNX power supply is mostly a power supply that will help to manage, give devices, the KNX devices power, and also to make sure that the data is transferred in the right way. So the KNX power supply is a very simple, a power supply that's transferring from AC, so this is an AC power supply, okay, to DC. AC is an alternative current, like the one that you have in your house, okay, so mostly it is, in our house is 220 volts, okay, and you connect the AC in here, the power in here, the line and the neutral, and you get from this DC, okay, which is mostly 30 volt, and this is the operating voltage for DC for KNX device to work on, okay, 30 volt DC. DC is mostly with a polarity, plus and minus. So this is the plus side, it's a minus side. Very simple example of a DC in your house is the battery that you put in a remote control, okay. This battery here. If you hold it in a different way, if you put it upside down, it will not work. Okay, so you have to make sure that you put it in the right direction, otherwise it will not work. So you want to make sure that the positive and the minus and the negative are in the right direction. But the AC, you don't care about this. So if you put it in the different way, it will still work. Okay, so this power supply is from ABB as an example. You can see here that's from AC to DC. The other thing that you need to check also about this power supply, that here as an example you can see also the consumption of the devices, because this power supply is giving power to devices. Those devices are consuming power, and from here I can see how much power they are consumed. Okay, in KNX devices, power is measured in milliampere. Okay, as you can see, this power supply is an example is 6040 milliampere, and from here you'll be able to see if there is a fault in the power supply and how much power the power supply is giving, or the devices are consuming how much power from the power supply. If this is getting high, then you have to put another power supply or get a bigger power supply. The power supply in here is a DIN rail. We'll talk about the DIN rail. So this notch in here is used to fix the power supply in the cabinet, and we'll talk about that. The other device, the next device we'll talk about, is an actuator. Actuator in KNX is a device that it's either going to give action to devices, so it will connect a motor or a lamp, devices that will take power, and mostly the power is going through the actuator. So in KNX we categorize it as actuator when the power is coming through it, or it's controlling something, so it's giving action. This actuator, by the way, is a 2-channel. Okay, actuator is on and off. How did I know that? When I check here, I can see that this is an ABB. Okay, from here I can find that it's 2 channels, and if I get this on the ABB website, I can find everything I need to know about that. So what does an actuator do? And as an example, this actuator can connect my devices, okay, let's say a lamp or something, to the KNX network itself. So if I have a lamp in here, okay, this lamp will take a connection from this channel, and the other channel will have the power going to the lamp. Okay, and whenever I say that this should be on, so this connection is going through, the lamp is on. If I disconnect this from here, so the lamp is off. Okay, this one is 2 channels, so I can connect 2 loads. The load can maybe a group of lamps, or maybe a chandelier, maybe a motor. Okay, and I can still do a manual control on those lamps, on this load, via those devices, via those buttons. These are we call local buttons, and I can manual control here. So if I can on and off the channels from here. Okay, and then the actuator itself will be different depending on the load I have. So if I have a chandelier, okay, that I only need to put on and off, will be different than in case I have, let's say, a daily light, or a motor, or let's say a 0 to 10 dimming light, okay, or a dimmer. So I will buy my actuator based on the type of load I have. Okay, this one will control 2 lines. If I need to get more, I can get, let's say, an actuator, a similar one, but with more lines. Maybe with 4 lines, maybe with 8 lines. Okay, so I can put an actuator big enough to handle the number of channels I need to control. And this is the KNX side. As you can see, it's a positive and negative. And whenever you see this is the KNX side that will be connected to KNX. Still, this is a DIN rail device, because I can see this notch. Those devices, power supplies and actuators, will mostly be placed on something we call omega. This one we call it omega. So this piece of metal we call it omega, and we use it to hold, okay, and fix the actuators. Because mostly the actuators, power supplies, dimmers, the motor drivers, this will be placed in a cabinet. We call it a DB. Okay, where the end user will not see it. So if you are the project owner, or you are a villa owner, or the villa user, or an office user, you will not see this. This will be placed by the installer, by the system integrator, the one that is installing the device for you. They will be placed in the DB itself. Okay, will not be visible to the user, and the installer or the system integrator will choose those devices depending on the load that you have, and the power consumption of the devices that you have. Okay, so you will not see that from the end user, from the power end user point of view. Okay, this we call it DIN rail. Okay, from the end user point of view, this is what an end user will see: sensors. Okay, and sensors in KNX, meaning that devices are not giving action themselves, or there is no current going through them. So this might be a sensor like a motion sensor or a presence sensor. Of course, for each item we are talking about, we'll have different videos for that. So for sensors, we need to cover a lot of videos to talk about sensors in details. But today we are talking only about concepts. Okay, this is a keypad as an example where you can customize. Say, I will press on this to do the lamps or to make temperature lower. Here also you have a display, and those keypads will depend on mostly the usage and the decoration of the house. So as an end user, okay, I can choose from thousands of keypads from hundreds of manufacturers. Okay, so each one will have different keypads, different made, different number of buttons. From this one I can get maybe a black one, completely black one, maybe one made with metal or plastic, depending on whatever I need, with different icons than this. Okay, so whenever it comes to keypad, the user will have the choice to choose the keypad that he wants to use. Okay, and those keypads mostly are not going through real power, because mostly they're connected with the KNX cable only, and that's it, the DC cable KNX. You can see it here because most of the cable is connected from behind. So these are the keypads, and those mostly are placed keypads or touch screens, okay, like a small square screen. This mostly are connected in the rooms, okay, not in the DB. So these ones will be used by the end user itself, and mostly I choose them based on the end user taste, okay, whatever he wants, or based on the function I need. These are connected all together using the KNX cable. KNX cable is you can mostly see it's a green cable. And to talk in a very brief way about KNX cable, it's a certified cable from KNX. Okay, as you can see it, it is a shielded one. So this one is shielded, and you can see that it has 4 cores. By cores I mean 4 cables. And we use those cables in pairs. So this is one pair and this one pair. Mostly we use the black and red. Okay, they carry the DC signal. Okay, this one is the positive, this one is the negative, and they will connect KNX device together. So all KNX device will be connected together in my solution. If I'm using twisted pair, this we call mostly twisted pair, okay, or bus. One thing you need to know about KNX cable: KNX cable can go in the same duct or the same pipe next to the electric cable, okay, or next to the UTP and network cable. There is no interference if it is shielded. So if the cable is shielded, then you don't need to worry about keeping a distance between the other cables in your network. So in one pipe you can have a KNX cable going next to the power cable or next to the network cable, okay, if the KNX cable is shielded. This is one thing you need to know. Okay, so we talked about power supply, actuators, sensors, and the cables. If I check here, these are the main concepts of KNX. So if I have a KNX system, this is a minimum structure KNX system using TP. So I have here the power supply converting from 220 volt to DC. Okay, the DC is the one that's coming from the green one, and the DC cable is the one supplying all my KNX devices. So it's supplying the keypad. This is a keypad as an example. This is the actuator. So it's the actuator itself is taking power from the power supply of the KNX from the DC port, and the actuator itself is connected to the lamp, to the load. Okay, and this load is, let's say, 220 volt. So to control the lamp itself, I have to take also 220 volt. Okay, so you have the power supply, you have the actuator that you need to control, and the keypad that you will use to control the actuator, or the sensor, by the way, that will control the actuator. Maybe I will connect this actuator, okay, to a motion sensor. So in case there is motion in here, let's get the actuator to power on the lamp, to give it an on signal to to go to the current will go through it and the lamp will be on, or vice versa. Okay, and this is the power supply. In your KNX system you'll have at least one power supply, okay, for each line. Okay, so let's take a look on the normal way that we have in our houses. This is a normal way we have in our houses. This is a conventional way. Conventional way is very simple. Here the load, the lamps are directly connected with the switches. So the cable is going from the switch to the lamp. Okay, so this is the line from the AC going through the switches, from the switches to the lamps. And if I close the circuit in here by putting the switch on, okay, like here, so circuit is closed, then the lamp will be on. If I keep the switch off, then the lamp will go off. Very simple. Okay, and here the basic topic that the load, the lamp, is connected directly to the control. If I need to change the control, so let's say I want to make a scenario where this device, where this button will control this lamp, then I need to change the cables themselves. Okay, so I have to take physical action to change the way the devices are being controlled. In KNX it's different. By the way, here if you want, this is a single way switches, so I can control those lamps from single switch. In some other areas you have a two-way switches. Maybe it's a corridor and you have the lamps in the middle, and they need to put some switches in the beginning of the corridor and some switches at the end of the corridor. Okay, so whenever I need to make the lamps on, you make the lamps on or off from those switches or from the other switches with different distance between them. Okay, in this case I will buy a two-way switch, or maybe even a three-way switch, and I control it, and electricity people know how to control this in a very, very good way. If I want to replace this with the KNX way, okay, then I have to use it with the KNX concept. The KNX concept in here is that load will not be connected directly to the switches, they will be connected to the actuator. This is the actuator. Okay, of course there is a power supply in here, KNX power supply, but I took it from the picture to make it simpler. But there is a power supply providing power to these cables, and here I have the actuator. The actuator will have the line going to it, okay, and from the actuator I will go and control the different lamps. In a typical way, this will be a 3-channel or more actuator, so a 4-channel actuator is an example because it's controlling 3 channels, okay, and of course it will be controlled by the KNX. So if I need to control this, I have to control the actuator. To control the actuator, I use a keypad, a KNX keypad or a KNX sensor like this one, and this one is only connected via a KNX cable, as you can see. Okay, and this way I can make it the connection here between those keypads and those lamps are KNX programmable. Okay, meaning that I can program this button to control this lamp. Okay, I can this button to control this lamp as an example, or I can program this one, okay, to control all those lamps. So it's a programmable one. If I need to change the function of those buttons today, I don't need to pull any extra cables. I'll just do some programming and that's it. So this is the main difference between KNX and the other one and the other conventional way, that I made my system that the connection between KNX, being control in general, the keypads, the user control, and the lamps or the loads, maybe a motor, maybe a dimmer, whatever, it will be logical. I don't have to pull any more cables to do that. And in this case, if I want to put another keypad in a different room, we need to connect it to the KNX bus as well, and then I can program this button to do something, this button to do another thing. Okay, this one will, let's say, control all the lights in the villa. All will be on or all will be off. So I am leaving the room, I am leaving the house, so it will be on off, and that's it. Okay, and I can control, let's say here I give the connection, I connected here the KNX, the keypad to KNX to the via this actuator, and this one I connected via here the actuator as well. I can connect it direct to the power supply, or I can connect it from whatever nearest to me. So here I can connect those keypads together, okay, because it's nearer to me. So the connection of KNX cabling is flexible, so I can make it a tree connection or a star connection. We'll talk about this in the topology in more details, but this is the main way. The main way here that I took off the physical connection between the switches and the load, and they make it a logical connection. So the end user will have the ability to program or use our service to program those switches to do something. Okay, then I can take the benefit of KNX. I can make sure that if there is no motion in the room, then maybe power will be cut off, the AC will be go down, so I am reserving power, okay, depending on the function I need to make. Okay, so this basically the functions of KNX and the basic concepts of KNX. Okay, if you have any question, let us know. You can post your questions on the Telegram channel or the YouTube channel, and let us know what other videos you want to have, and send us your question. We'll be very glad to support your projects and answer you. That was Wissam, and it was nice.